Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So, final day of spoiler season, and what a morning it has been. Well, okay, first up, just some personal news. My dog this morning decided, as I let him out in the morning usually, and then he goes, does his business, he comes back up, and his paws are all muddy. And I just gave him a bath the other day, so I had to go do that for a little bit, and yeah, that was fun. But other than my dog and Bentley being the bestest boy, except sometimes, today's a good morning because it finally happened. It finally happened. Urabrask finally is not useless. So that was a mean way of saying it, but I'm sorry, Urabrask. In the recent iterations of, well, you've been terrible for the most part, essentially, compared to the other Praetors. And finally, you are punching up to your weight class as a Phyrexian Praetor. Let's jump into the card. First up, Wizards, your quality control is garbage. I know you're probably like, well, we don't want people to proxy it and steal it. Cry about it. Put out better pictures of cards. Are you kidding? Look at this. This was like in an email that you sent. And you have other cards that have perfect quality. So they're just going to proxy. Like, I don't get it. Okay, I shouldn't complain. Regardless of spoilers, a spoiler. Sorry, that's hard to read. Here we go. 4/4 Phyrexian Praetor with first strike that costs 2 red. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Urabrask deals 1 damage to target opponent. Add red. Oh my goodness. Okay, so 1 damage, not that big of a deal. Now, there are, of course, ways to make that into, well, a lot more damage or a lot more meaningful damage. And, yeah, the important part here is also with that, we get to add a red, which means that Urabrask is basically a ritual effect for your instants and sorceries. You're going to be spell slinging left and right, and Urabrask's going to be like, red for you, red for you, red for you, red for you. Well, damage, red. Essentially, it's going to be really fun doing that. And that's just getting started because, my goodness, the back is so cool, and it's very easy to get to. Pay a single red mana, exile Urabrask, then return to the battlefield transformed under its control. There is a requirement. Activate only as a sorcery and only if you've cast 3 or more instant and or sorcery spells this turn. Now, casting 3 or more instant or sorcery spells this turn is incredibly easy for you to get to because, again, Urabrask gives you mana back. So, yeah, there's plenty of great, like, low to the ground, like, 1 mana spells even that essentially are going to be like, okay, I'll play this, cool, 1 damage to you, get a mana back. Well, play this 1 mana spell again. Okay, yeah, basically you just keep kind of just chaining spell after spell after spell. Most of the time when you're, if you're set up properly, probably doing it for free, essentially. Like, spell, got my mana back. Spell, got my mana back. And then activating with that last mana. And then essentially, yeah, you spent 1 mana to cast 3 spells. And, you spent 1 mana overall, essentially, like you actually invested 1 mana. And then you essentially get to flip Urabrask after dishing out some damage. Now, the backside, here we go. The great work. And what a great work it is. Unlike, again, that email that had the images. Wizards. Goodness gracious. Okay, I shouldn't bring that up again. The great work. Lore counter 1. Deals 3 damage to target opponent in each creature they control. So, hey, you know that player that you were just tormenting with some damage before? Let's maybe torment them further. Yeah, they deserve it, right? They probably did something to you. 3 damage to you. Take out, all your small creatures to, I guess, somewhat medium size at 3. And of course, there's even more ways to, of course, make that into more damage where you can, well, really punish a player and probably take out their entire army quite easily. Quite fun. The second lore counter, though, is create 3 treasure tokens. So, again, when I said that, hey, sometimes you don't even need to spend mana, right? You're basically just investing 1 mana to then cast a 1 mana spell again and again and again, and then flipping. Now you're getting that mana back, essentially, and then some. You're getting 3 treasure tokens. So, yeah, here's even more mana for you. And of course, there's ways to actually, get more out of those treasure tokens. Yeah, I can't remember that dragon's name, and I forgot to include it in this list, but whatever that one dragon is that you can tap and sacrifice, gold something dragon. Anyways, you can tap and sacrifice artifacts or treasures for twice as much. Anyways, off track. Third lore counter. Until end of turn, you may cast instant sorcery spells from any graveyard. What? Any graveyard? Oh, Urabrask, you're finally here. You finally made it. Not done yet. They spellcast away, put a grave from exile, for a graveyard, exile instead, exile the graveyard, return to the battlefield. Now, you might be thinking, Well, Mitch, don't they typically give you, any mana to cast those spells? Yes, typically, but they also just give you treasure tokens. That's what I thought too right away. I was like, okay, yeah. So you have the treasure tokens help kind of mana fix, help you cast their spells now. So now you get access to your opponent's cards in their graveyard, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, again, that's until end of turn. So you just have to activate this essentially once to really get the chain going. And yeah, of course, milling your opponents can be a great way to kind of refill graveyards, or to fill graveyards up kind of with juicy instant sorceries. And yeah, if they have a good amount of low to the ground cantrips, like let's say you're playing against Spellslinger decks, this can go on for quite some time. I mean, this can just kind of be a combo in and of itself. Just like, hey, cast some spells, get the mana for them, deal 1 damage each, flip, do this. You can just, if you got ways to proliferate, you've got ways to kind of keep going through this. It can be incredibly fantastic. I am just thrown off with just how cool this card is. Urabrask, again, the wait was well worth it, apparently. It's been quite some time, like a long time. You were terrible, Urabrask. I am sorry, compared to the other Praetors. And now you are, like, the coolest one. So, you made it, buddy, except earmuffs if you don't want a story spoiler. Except you're kind of gone, I think. At least I think you're gone. Lore mages out there, let me know in the comments below. I know like Urabrask got like taken out, but like it's a Praetor, it can probably come back. I don't know. Anyways, on this episode, of course, with other quick takes, I'm going to take you through budget buys. Those are cards that are less than $1 cards that, well, I'd be considering when building around this one. And then pricier picks, cards that are outside of my budget. But yeah, if they're in yours, make sure you consider them as well. Regardless, all these cards are in a link in the description below. Make sure you click on that, check out those cards, and yeah, if you're interested in this commander, consider picking up some of those cards sooner rather than later, because when new exciting commanders like this one are spoiled, and this one is really exciting, well, sometimes those cards go up in price sooner than later, so consider picking some of those up. Now, with all that said, jump into those budget buys. Oh my gosh, I'm just so excited that Urabrask is finally good. First up, Expedite. Again, like I mentioned, we have quite a few low-to-the-ground spells in red that can be quite effective, especially ones that replace themselves, like cantrips like Expedite. Instant for a single red mana, target creature gains haste until end of turn, draw a card. Yeah, that haste, sure, that's nice. It's not really all that impactful. It can be, sure. But the important part here is, 1 mana cantrip, draw a card. Get your mana back from Urabrask, deal out 1 damage. Get to that requirement where you can flip. Have fun with that. Next up, Balduvian Rage. Yep, instant for, well, X and a red. You can just spend just a single red mana on this. You don't need to actually utilize that red part. I guess you can if you want to like finish a player off like with an attack, which might be in your cards. You never know. Target attacking creature gets +X with 0 until end of turn. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. This one is one where, well, again, it's like a delayed card draw. So make sure you're considering that. You're like, okay, I'm going to invest. I know I'm going to get this card back essentially at some point. No, the card replaced essentially, but it's going to be on the next turn. So make sure you keep that in mind. Moving on, light up the stage. Hey, a sorcery for 2 in a red, but you're only going to spend a single red mana on this most likely. You may cast a spell for its spectacle cost rather than its mana cost if an opponent lost life this turn. So again, if you cast any other instant or sorcery that turn with Urabrask can play, you've dealt a damage to an opponent. They lost life. You now can just spend a single red mana, exile the top 2 cards of your library until end of turn. You may play one of those cards, or play those cards. Basically, impulse draw 2, essentially for a single red mana. So yeah, that can be fantastic at helping getting you access to even more cards off the top of your library to utilize. Strike It Rich. Yeah, another good card. One that does have flashback, but again, with this commander, you can just recast it from your graveyard for a single red mana, which is going to make you a treasure token. Very simple card, very effective card. One that basically nets you mana, again, with this commander, because your commander is going to give you that red back that you spent on this, and then you're going to be like, oh, I got a treasure token too. Cool. It can really help keep things going. So again, utilizing low-to-the-ground cards that say either, give you, like a ritual effect, or give you, essentially, a temporary mana with treasures, or draw you cards, or temporary card advantage, or a card next turn. Those are definitely cards to consider. Next up, Seething Song. Even a card that does cost a bit more. Again, a bit more. It's only 3 mana, and you're getting 1 back right from your commander. 3 mana, instant, add red, 5 mana in total getting added to your mana pool. I guess 6 counting the one your commander is giving you. So you're spending 3, getting 6, you're getting double the mana. It does not provide you any card advantage, does not provide you, a temporary card advantage or anything like that, but it is a great boost of mana to help you cast a lot of other spells in the same turn. Rousing Refrain. One that can kind of do this for free, essentially, for you and get you a good amount of mana throughout the game if you get this suspended early. Spend 3 for 1 in a red. Add red for each card in target opponent's hand. Until end turn, you don't lose mana as substance phase end. Exile Rousing Refrain with 3 time counters on. It's basically to keep recasting this for free after 3 turns. And again, your commander's gonna be like, hey, you cast instant sorcery. Ping, free 1 mana, and then you also get the mana from this as well. If another opponent has a good amount of cards in their hand, Or we'll talk about some ways to actually manipulate hands and maybe make it so it's going to be maybe 7. Then you get a lot of mana out of something like this, and it can really boost you forward. Next up, Magus of the Wheel. Yeah, like I was saying, hey, a good boost of mana. Pay 1 in a red, tap, sacrifice it. Each player discards their hand, draw 7 cards. A wheel like this can be incredible. Obviously, it does require a little bit of setup, and actually, this is where a card like Expedite does come in handy. Again, target creature gains haste. Cool, make it Magus of the Wheel. Now you can activate that right away. You can wheel right away. You know, force your opponents to discard. Again, utilize their hand size, again, with a card like Rousing Refrain. And also, of course, refuel yourself. And also, fuel all the graveyards. Again, your commander gives you access to all of the graveyards, instants, and sorceries, including your own. So the ones you discard, now you get access to, again, once you flip your commander and get to that 3rd lore counter, and your opponents as well. So yeah, filling graveyards is great. Refueling your hand is incredible. Wheeling effects like this one can have a huge impact. And again, yeah, I mean, overall it's 5 mana, but again, if you've got ways to ramp, if you've got ways, you know, to again have those kind of ritual effects, or you got ways to make those treasure tokens, you can easily utilize this to really keep a turn going. And yeah, again, make sure you're considering proliferate effects to kind of be able to utilize, you know, the commander's lore counters when you need to then get access to those graveyards after you get set up with something like this. Also, speaking of getting set up, hey, Gutter Snipe. Yeah, there's some great ways to get additional damage out of, you know, your spells. This is a fantastic one. Whenever you cast an instant source spell, Gutter Snipe deals 2 damage each opponent. So now, again, your commander is dishing out 1 damage at a time. Pew, 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 pew. Your commander is dishing out just a tiny bit of damage, and it does come with that sound effect as well. I don't know if you knew that. But also, now you're going to be dishing out even more damage, right? Every single spell you cast, which is going to be a ton. Again, easily casting, you know, 3+ spells in a single turn. You're going to be pinging your opponents for 2 damage each time. That's 6 damage total for all your opponents. I mean, if you're casting 3 spells in a turn, that's what? 6 damage for each opponent. That's 18 damage plus the 3 from your commander as well. So it's 21 damage in total. Just for having these 2 things in play, this in your commander, and then also, yeah, utilizing small low-to-the-ground spells that you're probably getting your mana back for. This can take your opponents out in absolutely no time. Speaking of which, Dictate of the Twin Gods. Now, in budget, there aren't too many ways to double up on damage. There's a couple. Dictate of Twin Gods is a good one, but a risky one. So make sure you set up properly before you put this down. Flash. So this one you can actually flash in right before your turn, so you can kind of save up your mana on your turn that you're going to be having. That's a big explosive finishing turn. If a sorcery deal damage to a permanent player, deals double that damage to that permanent player instead. So again, doubling up damage from something like Gutter Snipe, gross. 4 damage each opponent on every single sorcery cast. That's fantastic. With your commander, of course, it's going to be now 2 damage per each ping. Every single time you cast it into a sorcery, that's 2 damage. When you flip it again, you get 3 damage on an opponent and 3 damage each creature they control. That's now 6 damage to them and 6 to all their creatures. That's a nice, you know, burn to the face, and also burning down all their creatures. I mean, the vast majority of creatures that they have are going to be taken out. So yeah, this can be a high-risk, high-reward play, but one that can really pay off when used properly. So please, please, please keep that in mind. And yeah, make sure you're using this properly so you don't take yourself out. But now that we talked about the budget buys, let's talk about the pricier picks. And yeah, there are some really good ones to consider with this commander. And first up, let's talk about Birgi, God of Storytelling. Yeah, Birgi is a fantastic commander as it is. It's also just a fantastic card in the 99 of decks that like to cast a lot of spells. 3/3 God, whenever you cast a spell, add red until end turn, you lose mana substance phase end. Hey, your commander already gives you mana when you're casting instant sorceries, right? You've got a lot of low-to-the-ground cantrips and a lot of low-to-the-ground ritual effects and a lot of low-to-the-ground, well, spells. And now with this, it's like, hey, would you like an additional mana? Not just on your instant sorceries, but on every single on every single spell you cast. So essentially, in combination with your commander, whenever you cast against their sorcery, you're getting 2 mana. So yeah, cast that, you know, Expedite, low-to-the-ground spell. Draw a card, net mana out of it. Absolutely incredible. A great card for a commander like this one. Speaking of which, oh my goodness, Wizards reprint this. You knew it was going to be expensive the second that you printed it, and it's definitely not an uncommon power level. 2/2 Dwarf Shaman, Stormkiln Artist, +1/+0 for each artifact you control. That doesn't really matter all that much. I mean, there can matter, I guess. The important part here is, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, create a treasure token. Yep, that's powerful. Yeah, quite powerful. Hey, every single time you cast those spells, now, again, you get a red mana with your commander. You deal a damage. You also now get a treasure token that you can just save up, you know, and stash those treasure tokens and utilize them however you need to. So yeah, again, all of those spells you're going to be casting, all the spells you cast from your hand, from graveyards, from your opponent's graveyards, you're going to be getting treasure tokens from all those instants and sorceries. Fantastic. Wizard, reprint it, and send out better image quality pictures. Anyways, I said I was going to say anything about that again, but I did. Mana Geyser, add red for each tap land your opponent's control. Yeah, this one's also one that needs a reprint. This one is a fantastic card. It has fluctuated between budget and not budget. It's definitely not budget these days. I think it's around $2 or $3. A great card, 5 mana. Hey, probably make about, I don't know, by the time you cast this, 20 mana. Yeah, so this is a massive ritual effect that can really, really just push you ahead and get you to a great finishing turn and just can really help take your opponents out with just a big burst of mana. Speaking of which, Jessica's Will. This one is great for a couple of reasons, and it's a very competitive card, and it's a card that's very expensive because of that. Choose one. If you control a commander as you cast a spell, you may choose both. Add red for each card in target opponent's hand. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. Play them this turn. You may play them this turn, I should say. Yeah, would you like probably 7 mana again if you got a decent amount of wheels in your deck and you're setting your opponents up to have 7 cards in their hand? Yep. So pay 3, get 7, basically 8 with your commander, even more if you got Burgi or against Stormkiln in play. And then also, hey, you're going to have your commander in play and you cast this, so why not just get access to the top 3 cards of your library? So basically, yeah, Impulse Draw 3, gain 7 mana. Have fun! Yeah, a great card for a commander like this. Moving on, Braid of Fire. This card was maybe not going to say terrible back in the day. It was definitely limited back in the day because, well, a thing called Mana Burn existed and then it suddenly didn't. And when it didn't, now it's really, really good. Cumulative upkeep, add a red to your mana pool. Basically, every single turn, if you don't want to sacrifice this, well, or I guess you get age counter on it, then you get red mana. And if you don't want to if you don't want it in play, you have to pay mana to keep it around, and you're not going to do that because, hey, here's the thing, Mana Burn's not a thing anymore. So you just get progressively more and more mana every single turn. So yeah, if this has been in play for 5 turns, you're getting what? I mean, I guess like 5 mana, but yeah. Anyways, the next time around. You know what I mean? You just get a free giant well of mana, essentially, that you can then utilize to have massive turns again. You're going to have a lot of instants that you can utilize during your upkeep. So, yeah, have fun with that. Oh, gross. Okay. Nahab the Eternal. I kind of forgot I've had this one in here, but yeah, this is a really good one to consider and one that is quite expensive itself. But yeah, a very good card for this commander. Whenever, or at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, add red to your mana pool for each 1 life your opponents have lost this turn. Ow. So yeah, again, you're going to be dishing out a lot of damage again with your commander. Again, you're probably just pick on, an opponent, but you can spread the damage around with this one. Doesn't really matter. And hey, your second main phase is going to be absurd. Your second main phase is going to give you even more mana to utilize to take things to the next level with this commander and just, yeah, probably finish opponents off. You're going to have some crazy turns with this in play. Moving on, Ruby Medallion. You get this down early, you can have just absurd turns. My goodness. I mean, even later in the game, it's good too. Red spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Yep, saving an absurd amount of mana throughout the game. Again, now a ritual effect like a Seething Song or a Mana Geyser provides you even more value. Again, your cards that might just cost a little bit more, but you're still going to getting mana back from your commander now might even net you mana. So yeah, this card can be absolutely incredible. It can save you a ton of mana throughout the game. So again, utilizing ways to not only generate mana, utilizing ways to give you temporary mana, utilizing ways to save mana. They all can play a big part in having explosive turns with brand new Urabrask. And of course, other ways to dish out even more damage. Yeah, in the Pricier picks, we've got ones. Oh, Torbrand, you're just over $1. Darn it. If a red source you control will deal damage to an opponent, or a permanent opponent controls deals that much damage +2 instead. Now, every single time your commander deals 1 damage, your commander is going to be dealing 3 damage. So now every single one of your sorceries is basically a lightning bolt that also gives you mana back. Lovely. What's not to love about that? So yeah, this is a fantastic card for this deck. And of course, yeah, consider this with also, gutter snipe effects, essentially, or just, gutter snipe extra. 2 damage. That's going to be 4 damage every single time you cast it in sorcery to every opponent. So yeah, Torbrand, a great card for this deck. And again, just outside the budget buys. Moving on, one that's definitely outside the budget buys and nowhere near it, in fact, is Fire Emancipation. Hey, enchantment for 3 red. Did I say that right? 6 mana, anyways. Base source, you control deal damage to a permanent player, deals triple that damage to that permanent player instead. Oh, yeah, damage doublers are good. Damage triplers are insane. So, yep, your commander again, lightning bolts left and right, or just down the middle, or whoever you're hitting with them. When you flip it over the backside, that's 9 damage to someone's face, 9 damage to all their creatures. Those are taken out. And again, if you've got gutter snipe in play, 6 damage to every opponent for every single instant sorcery you cast. They're not going to last long. Yeah, damage triple like this can be absolutely absurd with this kind of a commander. And, yep, I had to bring it up. Grafted Exoskeleton. Your commander is a Praetor, so, hey, Infect. +2/+2 has Infect as an equipment. So, yeah, and whenever this comes a ton attached for sacrifice permanent, it's worth the risk. Or it's worth just even, I mean, it's going to become unattached, I guess, because you have to flip. You don't have to flip, I guess. let's just say this, okay? Once you're set up properly, get this on your commander, okay? Because your commander is going to be able to dish out so much damage. Again, once you got those damage doublers, maybe a tripler, maybe a Torbrand in play, you're going to be casting instant sorceries again and again and again, and you can just keep pinging opponents, and now you are giving them poison counters for all that damage. Again, let's say that you've got that damage doubler in play. That is going to be what? 5 spells you need to cast essentially to dish out 5 poison counters to one opponent and take them out. Or if you got a tripler in play, it's only what, 4, I guess? Or, 3 plus a proliferate 1 if you've got proliferate effects in the deck as well. Or if you get this on a gutter snipe, oh my goodness. Now that's just what? Cast 5 instant sorceries, take all your opponents out. Or if you've got a damage doubler with a gutter snipe, that's what? Cast 3, take all your opponents out. There's a lot of situations where this is just get this down, attach it, game ending. Now again, be careful because you flip your commander, you're going to be sacrificing it. But be careful. But this is just an incredible card to utilize with a commander like this. And then, if you got all the money in the world, Wheel of Fortune. There you go. A great wheel effect. There's a lot of great wheel effects. Some of them are a bit pricier than others. This one is incredibly pricey. A reserve list card. Very old. Sorcery for 2 and a red. Everyone discards their hand, draw 7 cards. Great. Triggers your commander as well. And just a great card. But one that, again, commands quite the price tag. Regardless, there are a lot of great cards for this brand new Urabrask. Again, I am so excited that Urabrask has finally gotten a good card. It took like 20 years or something. My goodness, Wizards. You're like, okay, we didn't get it right the first time. Again, all these other Praetors are so good, and poor Urabrask is just sitting on the sidelines doing nothing. And then they're like, all right, second iteration, right? Got all these other Praetors, right? Okay, they're all really good. Streets of New Capenna's coming out, and they're like, all right, Urabrask, you're lame. Oh, poor Urabrask. I'm sorry. You're terrible. Okay, not terrible, but you're not good compared to the other Praetors at all. And then this one, they're like, you know what? Fine. We'll crank it up. You've been complaining long enough for an Urabrask. That's good. Here you go. We'll crank it up to 11. So yeah, Urabrask, I love this design. It's fantastic. Again, kind of like Spell Slinger, Ritual Storm, crazy times with damage. Yeah, just really cool. And again, the flavor of being able to utilize your opponent's graveyards too is just awesome. I absolutely love that. I did not expect that. Being able to just be like, spell. Okay, flip. All right, let's proliferate a little bit. All right, let's get some counters. All right, we'll get treasure tokens. We dealt damage. And then your graveyard's down. They're mine too. Oh, you play a Spellslinger deck? Awesome. Now I get to play your Spellslinger cards too. Spell. Flip again. Yeah, just all these crazy things. Just, I absolutely love it. Comment below with your thoughts on Urabrask. Again, make sure you check out that card list link in the description below. Consider picking up some of these cards because, again, I think a lot of players out there have been waiting a long time for Urabrask to be good. And finally, it is. So, yeah, this might be a popular commander. And when that happens, sometimes cards that work well with it tend to go up in price. So, make sure you consider picking some of those up. Also, if you can see my recent episode from End of Day yesterday on Afara Ever Sheltering, find out why I'm saying no. Why? It's not because, again, Bentley ran through the mud this morning and I had to give him another bath. It's because of the card. Anyways, comment below with your thoughts on this one. Make sure you're staying tuned for even more exciting quick takes and spoilers coming out. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.